and welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday. And if I could wear gloves and manipulate my paperwork in front of me, I indeed would. It's been just that cold outside. It's been hard to warm up even on the inside today, and temperatures and conditions aren't letting up as of yet. While it will look a little better on paper and in your forecast tonight, it's not going to feel much better. We'll talk about your forecast, of course, in much detail, and those overnight and morning lows, which, didn't really break records, but tied in a couple of ways. In fact, temperatures dropped to around zero, even a bit below zero for a lot of us last night in eastern Kentucky and in the viewing area. In fact, a lot of locations fell below zero for the second year in a row. You might think that's not too much of an oddity, but actually, it is. The cold spot for this morning across Kentucky, Black Mountain, minus 9 degrees. Now, Black Mountain obviously has a significant elevation. Down in the more commonplace elevations, Mount Vernon recorded a minus 6, according to the National Weather Service out of Jackson. So, for us who saw minus temperatures this morning below zero, well, we did that for 2 years in a row, and that is pretty odd. The temperature at Jackson, for example, this morning was below zero, and it fell below zero 4 times last year. 2014 and 2015 marked the first time in nearly 30 years that temperatures have fallen below zero at Jackson for 2 consecutive or back-to-back years. The last time the temperature fell below zero in 2 years, close together or right together, was 85 and 86. So, if you want to place a wager as to next year having no below zero temperatures, might be a pretty good bet. We've got more in your forecast, though, possibly. Well, above zero for real temperatures, but wind chill factor is still going to be dangerous and deadly tonight, so taking those precautions, as we hope you did last evening, is certainly warranted tonight. I'll get to your forecast. We'll also take you down to the Justice Center. You may have heard about the situation there. It's going to be a costly one at that, and it's still being itemized in that respect, and they're still working to try to get it cleaned up, and that's going to be days in the mix as well. We'll tell you about the water line break there, and I've got a lot of details to show you and a few coincidences about the story. It happened last year, just to a smaller degree. We'll get to all of that, also some other news and information before I leave you. I do have some data in front of me from the Johnson County Sheriff's Department via a statement from Dwayne Price's office that has confirmed that one person died and a teenager was injured and ultimately airlifted to a trauma center after a 2-car collision in Johnson County on Route 3 this morning near the Johnson-Martin County line. The call came into authorities sometime after 5 in the a.m. A Pontiac Grand Am was being operated by 19-year-old Megan Neidlinger and traveling southbound on Route 3 when that vehicle crossed the median and into the other lane and collided with a truck traveling northbound operated by 34-year-old Randall Powers. Now, we understand that Powers' vehicle, a Ford pickup truck, a Ranger, I understand, went over the guardrail several feet over an embankment, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. As for the teenager, the operator behind that Pontiac passenger car, she was taken by ambulance to the Highlands Regional Medical Center and then from there airlifted to a trauma center in another state, I do believe. We do know that the driver of that vehicle, which was airlifted to another medical center, was not a licensed driver. It has been confirmed that she had a valid operator's permit at the time. The investigation is ongoing by the Kentucky State Police. Reconstruction has spent several hours on the scene throughout the morning. The Floyd County Times had a report today saying that they have, someone else to be in charge at the Big Sandy Community Technical College with the departure of its founding president, since it's not been PCC as we, and I say we, folks of my generation and certainly on back, but since the founding of Big Sandy Community and Technical College as it became, since that president who was with it since it first took that moniker and that new direction, it's going to be now guided by a former college president who has, according to the paper, who is no stranger to overseeing growth at a small college like Big Sandy. Dr. Charles Crestman, former president of Robinson Community College in North Carolina, has been named interim president and chief executive officer of the Big Sandy College. The college announced today that he will replace outgoing George Edwards, who spent 14 years at Big Sandy, who also announced his retirement effective this June 30th, who is going to go on and then serve as Kentucky Community and Technical College System interim chancellor. Now, according to the Robinsonian, during Cressman's tenure at RCC, The school's budget saw a lot of growth. It increased from $18 million to $42 million. The enrollment increased from more than 2,300 to more than 4,100 students. The credit program grew from 20 to 34. Employment also increased at that school, with full-time employees going from 176 to 193. Part-term employment also seeing similar growth. The school constructed 3 new structures during his time as leadership, including a workforce development center, a continuing education building, and a health science building. Upon his retirement, the school's board of directors voted to rename the workforce development center in his honor, and he will now be the interim leader of the Big Sandy Community and Technical College. We wish him well. Well, a lot of meetings to be held here in McGoffin County, those being mostly organizational meetings. That is the case for tomorrow night's McGoffin County Board of Education. They will have the election of officers. They will also adopt their regular meeting time. On that note, we are in the process of beginning to extend our outreach in regards to coverage of governmental and school board meetings, not just in McGoffin County, but into McGoffin, Johnson, and Lawrence as well. That's something we hope to have in our coverage, and you'll be able to see more of beginning around the 1st of February. I'll take you down to the McGoffin County Justice Center right after this. I began this show in November the 2nd of 1998. One of my very first reports after that election, if I'm not mistaken, it was that year, was of a water line break or malfunction, I can say, at the old McGoffin County Courthouse. Now, while it was not a similar situation which caused that leak or problem as it was to this morning's, it did bring back that memory. This morning, the Justice Center was the location of a serious water break. Thousands of gallons of water pouring down, described as a waterfall from the ceiling, with video to support that statement.
One of the staff escorts me into, yep, that's what you just saw, ceiling tiles continuing to fall, water soaked and heavy from thousands of gallons of water, which had poured from the second floor down to the first. You're looking at the courtroom downstairs, the circuit courtroom. Kim Childers did not have court set for today, which is a good thing. This is the courtroom. This is after not one but 2 sprinkler heads malfunctioned upstairs. We'll show you those and tell you what we know about what may have caused it and the rest of the damage in just a second. But here you can take a good look as to what was left downstairs after the water was shut off. About 15 minutes or so by the time the small leak upstairs gave way into a massive waterfall to the downstairs, but it continued to drip and pour through the floor and down onto the first level for quite some time thereafter. This is the look upstairs. This is actually the hallway where it all began. The trash cans were set out to capture what was a small leak from a sprinkler head early this morning that all of a sudden burst loose, with one of the security personnel in the hallway to see it just as it happened.
It was this morning, I guess, when maintenance came in. There was a small leak. We had a couple of trash cans sitting back here. One of our officers came up when Judge Marshall was on the bench. As he walked through the hallway, I guess one of the sprinkler system burst.
Did he describe to you the amount of water that was initially coming out and then the amount of water that came out when it really gave way?
He said it was like a waterfall.
Judge Marshall was holding family court because of the larger size of the docket in the district courtroom when it all happened. And this is what it looked like, well, in court today. As a result, some of the places throughout the courthouse, including the circuit clerk's office, were dry, but they were taking precautions on trying to keep it that way, telling me this wasn't the first time they've had a sprinkler go bad in the Judicial Center.
They had to come and suck up the water in the family courtroom, and then they cleaned the carpet and in Tanya's room, so
Blinds washed and windows.
yeah.
But not as much damage as this time.
No,
No.
And not as much water.
no. But it still was bad.
Yeah.
Goldie Salyer was telling me about a similar situation last year when a sprinkler head malfunctioned during the winter months, and they had a leak that you could still see the remnants thereof. This is upstairs. This is in the district courtroom. This is the courtroom which sits just adjacent to the hallway where the sprinklers gave way. I spoke with Sean Rowe of the Sagersville Water Works, and he tells me that those sprinklers in the Judicial Center are fed by 6-inch line that goes into those 2-inch lines that go to all the sprinkler heads. That is a 6-inch line which is unregulated and not metered, so all the pressure from that 6-inch line straight off the system goes into those 2-inch sprinkler heads, and then that's how much water comes out of them when need be. They're energized year-round, which means, of course, there's always pressure on them. And this morning, they gave way. It's not known for sure as to whether or not this is a situation where the lines had froze and then burst, because they couldn't really detect any cold air or environment in that particular area. They know that one had been leaking for quite some time when they had gone in, and then by around 10 o'clock this morning or so, it went from a small drip to something much, much worse. When we come back in a few moments, we'll take you back inside and see what they were doing to clean up and just what it's going to mean to operations at the Justice Center for the rest of this week and early next.
I've got some birthday wishes that I'll have to read tonight instead of putting up on the screen. I've got 3 of them, actually. I've got one that says, "Happy birthday, old man." His birthday today. Old man, I'm assuming, knows exactly who he is. Happy birthday, old man. From Wayne and the rest of the family. Happy birthday to you. I'm not done. Happy 12th birthday today to Austin Blake Howard, with a lot of love from mommy, daddy, family, and friends. Happy birthday to you, Austin Blake Howard, 12, I believe, today. And here's a special birthday wish. It's a century in the making. Happy 100th birthday to Jane Salyer. Love, your daughter, Joanne. Happy 100th to you. We hope you've had a wonderful day. Wow, what a special occasion that indeed is. Here are the rest of tonight's McGoffin County Farm Bureau-sponsored calendar announcements.
The McGoffin County High School dance team is selling 4 tickets to the UK-Georgia matchup on February the 3rd. Now, these tickets were donated compliments of C&R Ashland Office Supply. There are 2 upper and 2 lower tickets for the same game, UK versus Georgia, on February the 3rd. If you're at any ball game, know any dance team member, hit them up for a chance to get those tickets, and you can help support the dance team. We'll also be giving you some contact information, so if you're not at the ball game and you still want to get in on the action, you can call someone. I just don't have that number on the show tonight, but I'll get that to you very, very soon. It's time to weigh down McGoffin County and become their next biggest loser at the McGoffin County Extension Service, where through the end of February, every Monday through the end of February, you can learn new, easy ways on how to eat healthier, get active, and make some changes that last. It's a program that's every Monday. Once again, it's free. It starts at 5:30 each Monday at your McGoffin County Extension Service. They'll weigh in a half hour before the meetings start. It's free. Did I mention that? And it's each and every Monday. You can be there with them next Monday and be on the way to becoming their next biggest loser, getting healthier and thinner in the new year of 2015. Call 349-3216 at the McGoffin County Extension Service if you have any questions or need any other information. It's their annual contest, and it's a whole lot of fun that they have, and this is your invitation. This is a correction. I kind of the announcement was part wrong, and then I was part wrong on the other half. So let's make it real clear that Family Movie Night at Kearney Free Will Baptist is this Saturday, day after tomorrow, which is the 10th at 6 p.m. Admission is free. Pastor Butch Whitaker and everyone at Kearney Free Will invite you to come and join them. They're going to be showing Heaven is Real, and it's this Saturday, the 10th, at 6 p.m. And this, once again, is your invitation. We're sorry for the confusion that we had. I was saying that it was next Monday, which is not the 10th. And it's a long story, but nevertheless, we got it right tonight. Saturday the 10th, 6 p.m. for Heaven is Real at Kearney Free Will Baptist. And I don't get them wrong all the time, so send your calendar announcements to Your News Today. We'll put them on TV, let everyone know what you have planned, and that goes, of course, for birthdays and anniversaries as well. A reminder that funeral services are to be held tomorrow morning at 11 for 60-year-old Orville Lee Bull Blanton, who's survived by his wife, Bonnie Mans Blanton, stepsons Freddie Campbell and Randall Mans and Amos Campbell, daughters Candy Blanton and Tara Lynn Blanton, and stepdaughter Sophia Puckett. Services once again to be held in his honor tomorrow morning at 11 from the McGoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. And 50-year-old Elizabeth Ann Gamble of Oak Road passed away on the 7th, the daughter of the late Ray and Ivory Gamble. She's survived by 4 brothers and 10 sisters, with visitation continuing this evening, all day tomorrow, and up until services, which have been set for Saturday at 1, all of which from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. Burial will take place at the head of Coon Creek Cemetery at Coon Creek following services. And lastly, this evening, 72-year-old Holland Helton of Sagersville passed away on yesterday's date. I'm told that arrangements are incomplete at this time, but to be announced soon under the care of the McGoffin County Funeral Home.
Well, we're well into our 5th week now that the flu epidemic in Kentucky, the outbreak, if you want to refer to it in that proportion, is at a widespread level. That's as high as the chart goes. 26 deaths have been confirmed to have been attributed to, at least in some part, to the flu, and that is in Kentucky. The flu season, of course, will peak a little later on. It typically begins late October or so and runs through March. And of course, we had the revelation earlier from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention that the flu vaccine, which was distributed to millions of Americans, did not contain the exact strain of flu which is more predominant this season. Doesn't happen all that often, but it does happen. However, as has been confirmed through my personal experiences with the family, with some local physicians, and as I've seen documented on a national level, having the flu vaccine has bolstered the impact, or lessened the impact, I should say, that the flu has had on individuals who have tested positive for the flu, even though they had the flu vaccine. You're still being encouraged to get the flu vaccine at this time. Flu season is a long way from being over. Keep that in mind. Now let's take you back down to the McGoffin County Justice Center, where I went back just before coming into the newsroom to get an update as crews were busy trying to clean up the mess, and District Judge Dennis Prater had a little idea as to how they were going to try to operate for the rest of this week and early next.
By early afternoon, the ServPro company was on site and busy at hand attempting to clean up a few thousand gallons of water which had poured out of 2 sprinkler heads that I showed you just a few moments ago. Still unsure as to whether or not it was, and it's a great assumption that they had frozen and then burst, but there was still some inquiry into trying to find enough cold air that may have caused that situation, even though it was cold enough last night. And it doesn't take a whole lot of cold air to get on a pipe to cause some problems, but it might have been more of a culmination of things and not just the cold. While they're trying to figure that out, they're also assessing all the other sprinkler heads to make sure they don't have this problem again. While the company works very hard to try to clean up what was left behind, they're also working to try to figure out how they're going to continue to have court for tomorrow and early next week.
At this time, the second floor of the Justice Center was still without power. They may have that back on at about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, which is Friday. Family court tomorrow has been canceled. The circuit clerk's office and other offices that need be will be available tomorrow. That's about all I know at this point.
What about for next week as far as your court and the rest of the courtrooms that are going to be under repair for some time?
I'm not sure that our courtrooms will be available next week. We may be using the family courtroom as well if everything else holds pat. We're hoping that no other pipes burst or anything else, and we can use this side of the building. If so, more than likely I'll be having court in the family courtroom on Monday morning.
And as for any potential estimate on what the cost of all the damage is going to be, that is still yet to be determined. I think it's safe to say that it will be sizable. The AOC, of course, the Administrative Office of the Courts, has been on hand. They'll be coming back. They'll be part of the process. Also, ServPro will be another part of the process, figuring out just exactly what the cost is going to be, and then, of course, how much downtime will be involved. And there was, as I understand, insurance that will cover most, if not all, of the damages, which appear to be quite substantial. And speaking of substantial, in your Licking Valley RECC forecast, tonight's low of 16 is an improvement over the -2 that I clocked here at the newsroom this morning. We only saw 23 degrees for the high today, and it never felt like 23 to me, and that was because we had those winds, which we'll continue to see tonight. Southwest 6 to 11 miles per hour, gusts as high as 18 miles per hour at the time, still puts wind chills down well into the single digits and close to zero. Another night where more caution is advised. Keep that in mind. We'll wrap up this work week for hopefully most everyone at least tomorrow with temperatures not going very far. Slight chance of some snow showers before 11 in the morning, maybe a few flurries ending thereafter. Partly sunny and cold, a steady temperature right around 20, a west wind around 6 to 9, and that will mean that, well, we'll have temperatures once again colder than what they actually are or feel like they are. A low of 5 tomorrow night as another blast of Arctic air rolls in, leaving us with some more sunshine afterwards, though, on Saturday. Still can't make it out of the 20s. 25 expected for daytime highs, 16 for the low again Saturday night. Calm winds. That is one thing we want to make sure we make clear, that Saturday should see calm winds across the board. That also leads into Sunday, where we have another winter weather maker. Sunday, for the most part, mostly cloudy during the day, and temperatures finally above freezing. First day in a long run, 39. That's close to 40, obviously. Mostly cloudy skies. A chance of some rain before 10 Sunday night. Then when temperatures dip just below freezing, we should see some mix possibly thereafter. It will be short-lived. Monday looks to be rainy. Rain likely on your Monday. Temperatures near 40 again. Monday night we'll get back close to that freezing mark, and I think more of a mix then with some rain, some freezing rain, and some sleet likely Monday night. And maybe a little snow will make its way into the viewing area on your Tuesday as well. Another bit of a winter precipitation at least in one form or another. Your Tuesday looks to be filled with 41 degrees, 40 to 41 degrees, and a low of right around 32 Tuesday night with a 40% chance of some precipitation. For now, that's my time. We'll wrap up this week with more of your news today. Tomorrow night, we hope, as always, to see you then. Good night.